Good morning, everybody. How are we all feeling? Good, good. So, did we enjoy Hostage last night? I know I did. Um, I want to touch more on a couple of things that were brought up in the episode. The first one being the Lois and Clark breakup. Now, there are a lot of Lois and Clark fans out there who seem to be so devastated about the breakup. But what they don't understand, or what some of them are not understanding, is that this breakup needs to happen for two reasons. One, to allow Clark to further um, progress himself to becoming, the hero that we all know him to become, and to also, this breakup between Lois and Clark is also going to help them try and understand each other better in some sense, because although Lois feels that her purpose, when she was helping the Blur out and everything, has now been diminished with Clark kind of pushing her away. It's in some sense it's Clark saying to Lois, look, yes, you feel this is your purpose, but I can't let you get in harm's way, kind of thing. I need to keep you out of the light, as it were, and not make you like center of attention or get you too involved. So it is, in some sense, all for Clois's, for Lois's benefit. But it's Lois who wants the breakup. It's Lois who can't take not working at the planet anymore, because at the dinner table, when you've got Clark, Lois, Martha and Perry, there's Martha and Perry asking how it's all going between them two, and Clark is like pretending everything's fine when clearly it isn't. And that's when Lois steps in and says, look, in all honesty, we got fired from the planet. The relationship between us isn't working that well, so it forces the relationship to come to a head. And then we see Clark talking to his mother Martha, and she basically says, you're either going to take it to the next step or you let her go. So it's now his decision to make, and I think he's pretty much almost made that decision. But it remains to be seen what's going to happen in Salvation and how it's going to progress into season 10. So yeah, Lois does feel really downtrodden, and so we'll see what happens. The other thing that I wanted to touch on was when Martha was talking to Tess after she got the Book of Ralph from her. She mentioned a coming apocalypse. Now, it's obviously not the first time that we've heard that this season, because we first heard it in Absolute Justice when Amanda Waller mentioned it as well. Now, I'm still at two minds about this apocalypse that is supposed to be coming. Whether it's to do with the Kandorians arriving, or maybe this is a hint as to who the next villain is going to be. In other words, Darkseid. Personally, I wouldn't want it to be Darkseid, because I don't want them to do to Darkseid what they did to Doomsday. They didn't make him fierce looking enough. They didn't make him big enough. They didn't make him more of an important character in Smallville. But then again, regarding Doomsday, obviously, the big fight between him and Superman doesn't come until later on anyway, so that's understandable. But if you're going to bring Darkseid into Smallville, you need to, I don't know, you've got to really work that character to the highest level possible. And if this coming apocalypse is to do with the planet apocalypse, and then to do with Darkseid, well, it's going to be one of the biggest surprises, or the biggest exciting announcements to happen in Smallville since hopefully Clark starts flying, basically. Yeah. But yeah, I'm still not sure if this apocalypse is to do with Darkseid. I do hope that it is to do with the Kandorians, but the other thing that makes me think that it could be to do with the planet apocalypse and Darkseid was the fact that Martha mentioned what the purpose of the Book of Ra, the power that it contains, that it has the ability to transport Kryptonians to another location. Now, this other location could be another planet, could be another dimension. Hell, they might even all end up in the Phantom Zone, as far as we're concerned. Might even be the Phantom Zone, because that is what Jor-El created after all. And what's to say that the Book of Ra doesn't transport them to the Phantom Zone anyway? Besides, that is where Zod pretty much ends up in like Superman the movie, and also in the comics. So yeah, we'll see. But it's not just the fact that it can transport just Kandorians. Martha also told Clark that it can transport any and every living Kryptonian on Earth. So even if Clark uses it, he will also go. That's got you thinking now, hasn't it? Because it certainly got me thinking. But the fact that it can transport to another location might indicate maybe Apocalypse again might be involved. I don't know. It could be Apocalypse. It could be an entirely different galaxy altogether. It could be the Phantom Zone. But it's obviously all going to come to a head in Salvation, which is why we've been told by the producers to keep an eye out as to who the next villain is going to be in season 10, because there is a clue in the season finale. We just need to keep a close eye on it, especially as comic book fans. That was the most notable part of the of the statement. Comic book fans will know who the villain is going to be. So us guys who have read our comics, obviously we are going to pick up on it. If you haven't read the comics, well, shame on you. But seriously, if it is to do with Darkseid or Apocalypse or someone else entirely, I am all excited for it, so I can't wait to see who this next villain's going to be. Obviously, the hints so far are leading up to Darkseid, but even though the producers have not actually mentioned Darkseid himself, we've got 2 mentions of Apocalypse. We've got the Book of Ra being able to transport Kandorians or Kryptonians to another location. We've got, I don't know, we've just got so many mentions of certain teases and things that are being placed, possibly on purpose, to bring us to that conclusion that maybe it is Darkseid who's going to be in the next in next season. So yeah, wow, that's all I'm going to say. But yeah, so the Clois breakup and Apocalypse, those were the 2 things I really wanted to touch on. So again, let me know what you think, and if you want to send me your thoughts or email them in, the address is just up here. Okay, thank you very much. See you later.